So in Kanishka Adhikari neophyte stage, we have seen that what are the characteristics of neophyte devotees. So that we had gone through. Okay. So these are a different mistake material expertise to be advancement, devotional service, archan versus bhajan, consciousness of only deity in the temple, things themselves high, disturbed padyam devotee, criticize non-devotees of the Lord, offends demigod, does not appreciate paraphernalia of the Lord. So then we saw more discussion about that Kanishta Adhikari, that uh, Kanishta devotee is angry or disturbed if a non-devotee is criticized. Okay, so be conscious that God is everywhere, not only in the temple. So they should not criticize. Kanishta devotee offends demigods. Kanishta devotee cannot appreciate Lord's paraphernalia. Okay, cannot appreciate Lord paraphernalia. All those things we discuss. Okay, what is the difference between bhajan and all? So apart from that, uh, we also discuss about, you know, Kanishka Adhikari came mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jana Sukriti Arjuna. Artha Jigyasu Arthati Jnanishya Bharat Bharat Sarsabha. So, and we also saw the example that Gajendra who came because of he was in difficulty. Dhruv Maharaj came for asking wealth or a planet higher than his great grandfather. Then in Jigyasu case, sages of Namisarana are the example for Kumaras were Jnani. So there it was the beginning of the devotional service. Okay. So we saw Dhyani is the best of four Sukritinas, as Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. And then he said all of them are magnanimous in giving me love. Okay. So, but Jnani who knowledge on me is exceedingly dear to Krishna. So one who is Jnani is dear to Krishna, and one who engage in his service. So we also discussed that, as mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, that without being elevated to the position of Jnani or wise man, one cannot speak to the principle of worshipping this person. At least here we are not, Dhyana means knowledge about bhakti. We are not talking about impersonal conception or mental speculation. Okay. So it can be concluded that person who is free from the bodily concept of life is eligible candidate for pure devotional service. So we discussed that. So anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually release the real sweet taste of devotional service. So yesterday, if you remember that we are reading from Nectar of Devotion. So here we completed that it can be concluded a person is free from bodily concept of life, is eligible candidate for pure devotional service. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that after Brahman realization, when one is free from material anxiety and can see every living entity on equal level, he is eligible to enter into devotional service. Yes, so we saw that. So there are, uh, three kind of happiness: material, spiritual, and devotional. The devotional service and the happiness due to its execution are not possible as long as one is materially occupied. So what are the material conceptions? So that other. So till this point, we discuss about more on the material level. One who is aspiring from artho means one who is in difficulty, gross level, arthati, then one who is in the need of money, and jigyasu, then jnani. So they are at the beginning level. Okay. But here in this point, we are going to discuss more level like Bhukti, Siddhi. So those yogis who are behind Mukti Kami, Siddhi Kami. So they are that is also at the material platform. So that's what we are going to discuss. Okay, now. So devotional service and the happiness with which execution are not possible as long as one is materially upright. These are both considered material concepts. So even someone is, let's say, he's practicing spirituality, and he says that I'm self, I'm not this body, I'm soul. But he talks about merging in the impersonal conception of the Lord still. He is at bodily level. Okay? He is at bodily level. So because he has some material desire, because the enjoyment impersonals cannot appreciate, because the impersonals cannot appreciate the spiritual happiness of association and exchange of loving affairs with the Supreme Person of Godhead. Their ultimate goal is to become one with the Lord. So earlier, the four Kumaras were also impersonalists, but when they got the smell of Tulsi leaf offered at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, what happened? They become devotee of the Lord. Okay, so they need the association of the devotee, otherwise they cannot advance. In the association of the devotee, only they can advance. So this concept is simply an extension of material idea. Even to merging in the impersonal Brahman is also material idea. So in material world, everyone is trying to be topmost head, man among all the fellow men or neighbors. Okay. So either communally, socially, or nationally, everyone is competing to be greater than all others. It's correct, right? In material concept of life. So they are doing all this thing in material concept of life. So this greatness can be extended to the unlimited, so that one actually wants to become one with the greatest of all. So this, like controlling mentality, they want you to extend at extreme level. So that is not possible unless and until you consider yourself as God. Okay, of course, you consider yourself as God, but if you are able to act as a God, is difficult. So one of the Prabhuji, he always tell in his class that it's very difficult to become God. God's job is not easy. So why it's not easy? So one devotee comes and pray. Uh, XYZ person come and pray to Lord. I want to beat ABC person, and ABC person comes and tell, "No, please save me from XYZ person." Now, how Lord will fulfill the desire of both? It's very difficult. Right? So it's not easy to become God. So this greatness can be, they may, think themselves as God, but are they able to act as a God? That is different thing. Okay. This is also material concept, although maybe little more advanced. Little more advanced. If you go through Bhagavad Gita, uh, there it is said, uh, Iswaroham aham bhogi. Okay. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 16, verse number 13 to 15. So this is very nicely explained, saying that he says, Idam adya maya labdam imam prapyase manoratham idam astidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam asomaya hatah satrur hanishe cha paran api. Then he says, Iswaro aham bhogi siddho aham balvan sukhi. Then he says, Adyo abhijan वानस्मि वन्यो अस्ति सदृशो मया यक्षसे दास्यामि मोदिष्य इति अज्ञान विमोहिता. He says that a demonic person, so this is the mentality of demonic people, that So much wealth do I have today. I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. Okay. If I am killed and my other enemies will also be killed, I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful, happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifice. I shall give some charity. Thus I shall rejoice. This performing sacrifice, uh, giving charity, and rejoice also for name, fame, glory. Okay. So in this way, such a person are deluded by ignorance. Okay. So this is what uh, this is also at the material conception of life, but this is this is like merging in the impersonal Brahman and all. So actually, this is demonic mentality. So there are two conception in impersonalism. One is Brahmavadi and second is Mayavadi. So Mayavadi does not consider that they are not this body, they are soul, and they after liberation they become God. They don't accept the existence of the Lord separately. Whereas Brahmavadi, they they knows they are not this body, they are soul, but they also accept the separate existence of the Lord. Okay, so they don't want to become one with the Lord, but they want to be, they have a different identity, but they think that we don't have form. So that is their concept. So here specifically we are talking about uh, okay Mayavadi. Four Kumaras were Brahmavadi. Okay? So they were not Mayavadi. So Mayavadis are Krishna Aparadi, not Brahmavadi. So however, so that's why even some Mayavadi conception that we are not this body, we are soul, and after liberation I become one with the Supreme, I become Lord. This demonic mentality. That's why after demon, if you know that demon, when demons are killed, they merge with in the impersonal. They also get liberation, but that is Sayujya Mukti, impersonal liberation. So you can say that those who are getting impersonal liberation are as good as demon. Okay. So that's what in that. So, however, the perfect spiritual concept of life is complete knowledge of one's constitutional position, in which one knows enough to dawdle himself as transcendental love service of the Lord. So, in which one knows enough to dawdle himself. So, he knows what is his constitutional position, that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, and I am the part of Krishna. So, my duty is to serve the Lord. It's very simple. So that is his constitutional duty, position. So one must know that he is finite and that the Lord is infinite. This is not possible to actually become, thus it is not possible to actually become one with the Lord even if one is aspire for both of these. It is simply not possible. Therefore, anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or spiritual sense, cannot actually release the real sweet taste of devotional service. Because you consider your God, then how there will be reciprocation? You become one with the Lord, there is no action only. So there are so many. That's why if you go through, I think the Krishna book and 10 seconds of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Pondrak is the example. So, so every one of us, at least myself also, if he try to become center of attention, listen carefully. If he try to become center of attention, leaving Krishna as the center of attention, and that is demonic mentality. That is Mayavadi philosophy. Repeating again, if someone's try to become center of attention, giving up the Krishna as the center of attention, okay, so then that mentality is called demonic mentality, because only demons try to take the attention of the people, gain the attention of the people. Their attention gainer, they want to be in focus, they want to be in focus, not Krishna. So sometime on the name of bhakti also, we end up in this mentality. हाँ, हम दिखाना चाहते हैं, देखिए मैं कितना अच्छा भक्ति कर रहा हूँ, मैं कितनी अच्छा सेवा कर रही हूँ, तो कोई मेरी सेवा देखे तारीफ करे, ऑफ कोर्स यू नो that is different thing. Okay, appreciation help us to do more service. But if we are searching for appreciation, not for the encouragement in seva, but as a to gain us attention of the people towards us, not towards Krishna, then that is demonic mentality. So we should try to give up that mentality. It's very, very important. So sometimes we do that. Even after coming to bhakti, even after chanting 60 rounds, so many years, 40 years, 50 years, but people can have this mentality. It's very, very difficult to give up. But that you can give up only have a service attitude. So sentence is very, very important. Is simply so that is also material conception again in the bhakti. So that is like a more covered. You are not able to. Uh, oh, how nice, devotee के dress में है, but we are gaining the attention. So it's very difficult to find out. But that mentality is there. So center gaining mentality. Sorry, attention gaining mentality. So Srila Rup Goswami has therefore compared possessing this mukti and mukti desire with being influenced by the black art of which. Srila Rup Goswami has therefore compared possessing this mukti and mukti desire with being influenced by the black art of the witch. In both the case, one is in trouble. One is in trouble. Okay. Bhukti means material enjoyment and mukti means become freed from the material anxiety and to become one with the Lord. This desire are compared to being haunted by ghosts and witches. Because while this aspiration for material enjoyment or spiritual oneness with the Supreme remains, no one can release the actual advanced mental stage for devotional service. So that's why even the neophyte devotees is much better than impersonalists. It's much better than impersonalists. Okay. So anyway, hope this is clear that that's why after becoming bhakti also we should not be a center of attention. Okay. So why they want to gain material enjoyment and mukti so that people see them. So they are gaining the attention of other people. So this is a part of next chapter very nicely. But a pure devotee never cares for liberation. Okay. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to Krishna, my dear son of Nand. It's very famous verse. Okay. And na dhanam na chanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisa kamaye. Homa chanmani chanmani sure bhavtat bhavi. My dear son of Nanda, I do not want any material happiness in the shape of many followers, nor immense opulence and wealth, nor any beautiful wife, nor do I want cessation from material existence. I may take many births one after another, but what I pray for you is from you is that my devotion unto you may always remain unchanged. So we don't want anything from the Lord in return. Okay. So the attention of pure devotee is so much attracted to the glorification of the Lord's pastime. Name quality from it is that devotee does not care for mukti. Does not care for mukti. That's why below Munga Thakur has said, if I am engaged in devotional service unto you, he writes in Krishna Karnam. So what is the meaning of Krishna Karnam? One who is giving the one which gives the pleasure to the Krishna's ear. So I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord. Then if I am engaged in your devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily I can perceive your presence everywhere. As far as liberation is concerned, I think liberation stands at my door with folded, waiting to serve me. For devotees, the mukti is servant of the devotee. Very simple. Here he is explaining. Pure devotees, therefore, liberation and spiritual emancipation are not very important. They are fine. They are fine in the Vaikuntha. They are fine in the heavenly planet. They are even fine to go to hellish planet. They have no. So in this connection, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 25, verse 36, Kapil Dev has advised his mother Dehuti as follows. My dear mother, my pure devotees are charmed by seeing my different form, the beauty of my face, the structure of my body, so enchanting. My life, sorry, my laughing, my pastime, and my glance appear to them so beautiful that their minds are always absorbed in the thought of me, and their lives are dedicated fully unto me. So although such a people do not desire any kind of depression or any kind of material happiness, it's again, we'll in the next chapter, we'll see one after one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, even from Padma Puran, even from Damodar Ashtakam, that we are talking. Devotee don't care for depression. Okay, so that is the next chapter. But here, Rupa Goswami has given the hint about that. Yes, so still I give them a place among my associate in the Supreme God. So although such a people do not desire any kind of depression or any kind of material happiness, still I give them a place among my associate in the Supreme God. So we don't desire. We don't desire. It doesn't mean that Lord will not. So Lord can give. Even we don't desire, Lord can give. So that's up to Lord. It's not up to us. But the only concern is that, only thing is that we should not desire. We should not aspire. Lord will give, that is different. Okay. So this evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam gives assurance to pure devotee of being elevated to association with the personality of God. So it's not that we don't desire, so Lord will not give. If you don't desire, then Lord will definitely give. Okay. So now we should not stop desiring so that definitely Lord gives. So that is another, it's a cycle, called vicious cycle. Okay, so this is the this gives the assurance to pure devotee of being elevated to the association with the Supreme Personality of God. See, when they don't desire, Lord will give them that association. Srila Rupa Goswami remark in this connection that one who is actually attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna or his service, and whose heart by such attraction is always full with transcendental bliss, will naturally never aspire after liberation, which is so valuable to the impersonalist. It is so much valuable. So that is the glory of devotee. Okay. So similar passage is also there in third canto, fourth chapter, verse 15 of the same book. Where Uddhav address Lord Krishna and says, "My dear Lord, for person who are engaged in the transcendental loving service, there is nothing worth obtaining from religious means dharma, artha, kama, moksha. They don't have to obtain anything from religious, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Although happiness from this different source can be very easily had by them. They can easily get. So these all things are byproduct of bhakti. So in spite of such a facility, my dear Lord, I do not aspire to achieve any such a result. So what he said that although happiness from these things, this different source can be very easily had by them. So if they don't aspire, doesn't mean that they will not. They will have. But in spite of such a facility, my dear Lord, I do not aspire to achieve any such a result. We don't want. Devotee don't want. My only prayer is that I may have unflinching faith and devotion. This is only they want. We should daily pray to Lord that please give me unflinching faith and devotion and pure lotus spirit. Please award me pure devotional service and pure lotus spirit. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was telling me in one of the lectures that we should daily pray to Lord that please award me pure devotional service at your lotus feet. So we should daily pray to Lord Krishna. So that is from this statement. Okay. So we should only pray for unflinching faith and devotion unto Lord, to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So again, Kapil Dev tells Devuti that my dear mother, devotees whose heart are always filled in the service of my lotus feet are prepared to do anything for my satisfaction. Especially those fortunate to assemble together to understand my teaching and gain transcendental pleasure therefrom, never desire to become one. Those who are attending Bhagavad Gita class and all Bhagavatam class, especially in a bhakti, they are not desiring all this thing. Now, what to speak of becoming one with you? If they are offered a post like mine in my award, or opulence like mine, or even impersonal association with me, sorry, personal association with me, with similar bodily feature, they refuse to accept. So even another four kind of bhakti also they refuse because they are satisfied simply by being engaged in meditation. So they are so happy in engaging in devotional service, they don't care about five kind of mukti. Saijya, Samipya, Sarupya, Salakya, this Rashti. They don't care. So this statement is saying a post like mine in the awards, so staying in the Salokya then or opulence like me means Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Srashti. So Sarupya then over partial Samipya with the similar. So they reject all these things. So so Dhruv Maharaj says that, my dear Lord, the transcendental pleasure derived by meditation upon your lotus feet, which is enjoyed by pure duty, cannot be approached by the transcendental pleasure derived by impersonalists to their self-realization. Okay. So impersonalists are self-realized in terms of they are not this body, they are soul. But they don't have a conception of the God and devotional service. So their self-realization is useless. So self-realization without God realization is nothing, zero. Okay. So how can that's why they are impersonalists. Okay. So how can the fruitive workers who at most can aspire to promotion to higher heavenly planets understand you? And how can they be described as enjoying a happiness similar to the devotee's happiness? So happiness derived by devotee is much, much higher than happiness uh, we get in heavenly planet. Okay. So that's why it is said anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying these senses by becoming more and more important. So we should not, what we learned that we should not behind gaining the attention of the people. Our activity should not be attention driven. Attention driven means whatever I'm doing to drive, whatever I'm doing or drive is, sorry, whatever I'm doing is driven by gaining the attention of the people. So our things should not be attention driven, but it should be devotion driven, devotion unto Krishna. So even the bhakti should not be attention driven for us. Okay, bhakti should not be attention devotion for us, attention driven by us for us, but attention driven to Krishna. That's very, very important. Even after coming to bhakti, also, sometimes, most of the times, we end up gaining the attention, or our every activity is driven by gaining the attention. So we should be very careful. Okay, so, so by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually release the real sweet taste of devotion. So that's why so many people who come in bhakti, if their actions are attention driven, they will not enjoy bhakti. After some time, they will be frustrated and give up the bhakti. Okay. So Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore compared possessing, sorry. So Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore compared possessing this bhakti material and mukti desires with being influenced by the black art of the beach. In both the case, one is troubled. So it is like haunted by ghost. So this is for Kanishta Adhikari, in the Kanishta Adhikari still they are at material level and all. So if you really want to advance in the devotional service, then we have to What is our eligibility for advancing devotional service? That we should give up this desire. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, it's fine, but gradually we should try to give up this desire. Okay. Now coming to the point of discuss about Kanishka Adhikari and different desire to have material enjoyment. So, so now we are at intermediate devotee Madhyamadikari. Okay. So Madhyamadikari offers love to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you love Krishna in any capacity, you shall never be frustrated because everything in Krishna is perfect. Satchidananda, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. So our activity should be attention driven for Krishna. Okay. So Madhyamadikari is sincere friend to all the devotee of the Lord. So what we discussed, they have a faith in the Shastra. They are convinced. They have faith in the Shastra. Okay. And Madhyamadikari is sincere friend to all devotees of the Lord. So he loves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as highest object. He is sincere friend to all the devotees of the Lord. Madhyamadikari shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent and unblasphemous. So those who are especially the preacher. So Srila, what about Srila Prabhupada? Is Uttamadikari or Madhyamadikari? What to consider? So Srila Prabhupada is Uttamadikari devotee, but he to preach he came down to Madhyamadikari. Came down to Madhyamadikari. Okay. So I can just like DCP. If DCP wants, he can come down to the jailer level and punish the criminal and whatever if you want directly. Okay. So the same way Uttam Adhikari can come down at the Madhyam Adhikari level. So he preaches. So to preach, so this discrimination is very, very important. He has a clear understanding who is God and he worships the God as a highest object of love. And he makes a friend with the devotees. Then Madhyamakatik shows mercy to ignorant. So those who are non-devotee, but they are not enemies of Krishna, but have they are at confusion state whether go another level or different level. So they don't have clear understanding. So they are ignorant, but they are not blasphemers to the Lord. So Madhyamadikari will show mercy to the ignorant people who are innocent and non-blasphemers. And Madhyamadikari disregard those who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so there are so many such a people we have seen in the YouTube and all. They quote so many shastras, but that in front of those who are not aware. So that's why it's very, very important. This four category. First, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love. Second, they makes the friends with devotee. Third, they show the mercy to the ignorant and innocent, ignorant and non-blasphemous. Fourth, they keep the distance for envious people. Okay. So they keep the distance from envious, but meditate upon the ways to save them. So Madhyamadikari. Okay, they keep a distance, but they always meditate how to save them. That is very, very important. That's why, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, if Vaishnava preacher encounters one who is envious of him, the preacher should remain far away from such an envious person. But Vaishnava preacher may meditate upon ways to save the envious class of men. तो क्या करते हैं एनवीएस होते हैं इनडायरेक्टली दे गिव देम प्रसाद हरिनाम कीर्तन करते हैं तो इनडायरेक्टली हरिनाम सुन देते हैं हाउ टू डिलीवर देम they meditate but they don't directly end up blaspheming the devotees that is an offense Okay. So such a meditation. What is the ninth offense against? To explain the glories of the holy name of the Lord to envious people. That is the ninth offense, right? So, but the Vaishnava preacher may mention they always plan how to do that. So that's why Srila Goswami is mentioned Prahlad Maharaj as an example of 20%. Okay, so actually, Prahlad Maharaj who came as a Mukunda Datta. I think I forgot who came and what was his uh, form in Chaitanya Lila. I forgot. So when he came, I think it's Mukund Datta. I think so. Okay, but Prahlad Maharaj also appeared in Chaitanya Lila. So he requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, oh Lord, you are the deliverer of the fallen soul. Then why are you not delivering all these fallen people? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, no, they are so sinful. Who will take the reaction? So then I think that Mukund, whoever may be, Prahlad Maharaj, in the Chaitanya, Lila, he said, okay, then you give me the reaction of all the conditioned soul, give me all the reaction of all conditioned souls, and you liberate them. So that is the compassion of Prahlad Maharaj. Okay. So Prahlad Maharaj says that, no, please let me, what he says in 7934. So he says in 7934, I could not remember the verse. Okay. So from that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated, but Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Brahma was generated, he could not see. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. He could find no trace of you. However, for when the seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. What is okay? So one of the places he said that Prahlad Maharaj doesn't want to leave this material unless and until all the uh, conditioned souls are delivered. So I will be happy to in this material world and serve you, delivering all the fallen souls. So although Vaishnava preacher constantly meditate on the welfare of all living entities, he will not associate with those who are unreceptive to the message of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So in this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that even Bharat Maharaj, Vyasdev and Sukdev Goswami do not exhibit their mercy indiscriminately. They were also very, very cautious whom to give this mercy, not to everyone. Okay, so that's Madhyamadikari. Okay, so now let's go through the nectar of devotion. Okay, so second class. So devotee has been defined by the following symptoms. He is not very expert in arguing the strength of revealed scripture, but he has firm faith in the objective. The purport of this description is that second class devotee has firm faith in the procedure of devotional service to Krishna, but he may sometimes fail to offer argument and decision on the strength of revealed scripture to an opposing party. But at the same time, he is still undaunted within himself as to his decision that Krishna is the supreme object of worship. So he may not be able to convince other, but he will not be convinced by others. He may not be able to convince other, but he will not be convinced by other too. So he may not be able to defeat the argument of others, but he will not be defeated also. So that's the point of being Madhyamadikari. So what about the first Uttamadikari? The devotee in the first or topmost class is described as follows. He is very expert in studying relevant scripture. He is also expert in putting forward argument terms of scripture. Put forward argument. He can very nicely present the conclusion of the perfect. Sorry. He can very nicely present the conclusion with perfect discretion and can consider the ways of devotional service in a decisive way. He is very nicely convinced and have faith. He understands perfectly that the ultimate goal of life is to attain the transcendental loving service to Krishna, so loving service of Krishna. And he knows that Krishna is the only object of worship and love. Love means only Krishna. If he extends the love to others without Krishna, that is lost. Okay, so this first class devotee is one who has strictly followed the rules and regulation under the training of bona fide spiritual master and has sincerely obeyed him in accord with the revealed scripture. So one is trained and sincerely obey him in according to the revealed scripture. Thus being fully trained to preach and become spiritual master himself. Thus being fully trained to preach and become a spiritual master himself is considered first class. So first class devotee never deviates from the principle of higher authority, and he attains firm faith in the scripture by understanding with all reason and arguments. When we speak of argument and reason, it means argument reason on the basis of revealed scripture. Based on revealed scripture, not on mental speculation. The first class devotee is not interested in dry speculative method meant for wasting time. In other words, one has attained mature determination in the matter of devotional service can be accepted as first class devotee. Determination level is very, very high. You cannot daunt them. Okay. So what is his eligibility? One who is expert in logic and in understanding the real scripture. So that's what we discussed. And always have firm conviction and deep faith that is not blind. Faith that is not blind is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. Chaitanyam, Charitamrita. So that is quoted in Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu also. So that's what topmost devotee, most expansive vision, the most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all soul. So everywhere he sees Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. Okay. So the supreme personality of Godhead is Krishna. That is what uh, comes in Bhagavad Gita 6:30. So in 6:30, what he says, Yumam pashyati sarvatra savam pashyati manah. Yumam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranasyami sa cha me na pranasati. So for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost. That's what Krishna confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So consequently, he sees systematically everything in relation to Supreme Lord and understand that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. So that is his vision. So a devotee of the highest level of spiritual qualification is glorified for expansiveness of the spiritual vision. For example, when stalwart demon Hiranyakashipu questioned his self-relation, Prahlad Maharaj, as to where about the supreme person of Godhead, Prahlad Maharaj, in Mahabhagavata beauty answer straightforward. Supreme Lord is everywhere. When Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his father, so where is if God was in the pillar of the palace? And Prahlad Maharaj answered, yes. Hiranyakashipu, being bona fide demon, struck the pillar with his sword, trying to kill the god, or at least disprove his existence. Then Lord Narasimhadev, the most ferocious form of the Supreme Lord, immediately appears. So this is the faith, this is the conviction. Okay? So this is the faith and conviction of the devotee. So Lord Narasimhadev immediately appeared and finished forever the illicit program of Hiranyakashipu. So okay. So this is the faith and connection of the devotee that yes, Avasya Raki with Krishna and God is everywhere. So this is how the most expansive vision, the qualification for seeing Krishna everywhere. So Prema Anjana Churita, Bhakti Vilocharina, Santas Sadeva Hridayesu Vilokayanti, whom the pure devotee sees in their heart of heart with the eyes of devotion, tinged with the saliva of Lord. So pure devotees always sees the Lord in their heart of hearts with the eyes of devotion, tinged with Anjana. Anjana means love. No, you know that Anjana, salve of love. So whose eyes are anointed with the love for God, they can see the God everywhere. Okay, so Uttamadhikari is prepared to offer respect even to a demon. That's why Prahlad Maharaj is Asurvarya Dehinam. So Asurvarya Dehinam. So that's very famous verse. So what is that first? I forgot, but I could not remember the number. Hmm. So he respect, Asurvarya Dehinam. Oh, greatest of the demigods. I think Prabhupada title is that. Oh, king of the demon. Uh, I forgot that. Where is the verse? So that's why Srila Prabhupada even sometimes says Mr. Hiranyakashipu, Sriman Hiranyakashipu. So they respect even demons. So if it is Lord's desire, a pure devotee can offer this respect to all living beings. For example, Srila Jiva Goswami mentioned that Uddhava and other pure devotees of the Lord were always prepared to offer respectful obeisances even to such a person as Duryodhana. So they are able to they are able to offer respect to Duryodhana. So Madhyamadikari, however, should not imitate such Uttamadikari behavior. We might be have seen Narad Muni many times he approached to demons and they talk with so nicely with the demons. They offer respect, so many things. Okay. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that a Madhyamadikari cannot at any time perceive the presence of the Supreme Lord within all living beings. Whereas Uttamadhikari, however, he acts on the second class platform to carry out the Lord's mission, is aware that every living entity is ultimately sometimes Uttamadhikari comes at the level of Madhyamadhikari. So he's aware that every living entity is ultimately a forgetful Krishna conscious living entity. So when they come from Uttamadhikari to Madhyamadhikari level, they are aware. Hmm. Bhakti Siddhanta Sarvari Thakur says it is the duty of Madhyamadhikari to extend himself as the right hand of Uttamadhikari. So Madhyamadhikari are helping Uttamadhikari. For what? Vowing to work for the benefit of others and offering to help in distributing love of Krishna. So that is the duty of Uttamadhikari. So, so that's what, you know, so that way we end this chapter number 3. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any question, comment, feedback. So tomorrow we'll start with chapter 4.